Okay, so that was not actually played the best. So, yeah, I'm just here to show you what I've been up to. As you can imagine, what you've just been listening to is Goldenpond. So I'm still trying to figure out. Goldenpond came out of doing live coding, which is meant to be a live sort of performance-based things. And I'm trying to figure out how to use it better in that sort of environment. So, for those who've not seen Goldenpond before, I mean, if you might have seen Goldenpond before. I've been making videos about it for a while. We've kind of got to the stage where here we are in FL Studio. Goldenpond is a general language for describing chord progressions, and it's partly, it's available in a number of formats and a number of places, but one place is here in FL Studio now in scripts. So if you've seen Goldenpond before, you'll have seen something like this. This is the live coding script for the piano roll. So what this is doing, the library lets you define a series of chord progression, right? In this case, you can see it here, it's the chord sequence. Now, I won't explain the full language to you. I've done that in other videos, but just kind of see here, like this is the 7th chord of the 1 chord, this is the 7th on the 4 chord, on the 6, on the 5. We're in the harmonic minor scale. Our root is 56, which it's a MIDI note. I can't remember what key we're in. And then each of these things here is giving us a different rhythmical pattern for one of the different instruments that's playing. So I'm not going to define all of this now. Again, I've got it in other videos, but there are 6 different voices here, each on a different instrument. The different instrument is thanks to it all being on a patcher here, where the same piano roll, which is got each part on a different channel, is going through this color mapper and then to these different instruments. So I've shown you that before. So what was new now was that kind of improvised melodic line I was playing over the top. Now the reason we've got that improvised melodic line over the top now is because as of FL Studio 2025, the latest version, we now also have a thing in the patcher called this VFXScript. Now, just like the script running in the piano roll and in the Edison editor, this is now Python. So Goldenpond is available in Python, and that means we can embed it literally in Python scripts that we can run in FL Studio. So here is this VFXScript, and what this VFXScript does is we have to give it the same chord progression and the same, in fact I've not even made these 7ths here, so there's a little bit of restriction there. The same chord progression, same roots, the same, in fact we're in harmonic minor, same information. So this is using Goldenpond internally to calculate what are the chords at each step in time. And then what the script is doing is it's actually quantizing or constraining the notes that are coming in to fit those chords. So, I mean, you'll have seen things before that will say, okay, restrict the notes coming into the keyboard to fit a particular scale in a particular key. The point about Goldenpond is that actually within the chord sequence in Goldenpond, you could be changing key, you could be going to different modes, and of course, if you just kind of clamp the keyboards to one particular mode or scale, that isn't going to work because it moves around. But with this new script I've got, VFXScript I've got using Goldenpond, it could evolve through that chord progression at the same time. Now, in this particular case, it wasn't really doing anything very fancy. We didn't change key at all. We just stayed in this harmonic minor the whole time. Let me just show you the script. The script is slightly different because you don't keep it on disk and load it in. You have to kind of paste it in from your patch as part of your patcher patch. So this is what you're seeing at the top here. This is all the Python of Goldenpond itself. Now, Goldenpond is not written in Python, it's written in a programming language called Hax. It's then generated from Hax, it's transpiled from Hax, generated by the Hax compiler into Python. You don't really need to do, when I make these scripts, all I do is I literally glue the two files together. All of this stuff we're seeing here is just Goldenpond. You know, it's not even the Goldenpond I wrote, it's the Goldenpond that's transpiled from the Hax Goldenpond. Now, here is where the actual code kicks in. So I won't lie, this was all pretty much vibe coded. Now, what I did this time is that I already have Goldenpond in the format of the script for running in the piano roll, so that already knows how Goldenpond works in this FL Studio world and how it calls on the API of the piano roll. That's got a certain amount of commonality now with how these VFX scripts work. So what I did was I have Gemini here running on my command line in it's Ubuntu but inside Windows. So this is just a place where you can interact directly in a terminal and ask it to write code for you. So what I did was I just put into Gemini, I showed Gemini the existing piano roll Goldenpond script. I also showed it the Goldenpond source code in Hax, because the good thing about Gemini is it's got quite a big context window. In other words, you can load a lot of code into the prompt, which it can be using for reference. So I gave it all of that, and then I gave it the instructions. I think I pointed it at the page on the the image line site for the VFX script, as it's calling it, so it could see the documentation that's available there. And it wrote some code, and the code didn't work. You know, it made the first pass at it. There were some bugs. So what I did was I then took the output. You know, initially I kind of there's a log here on this thing where, in fact, there's still a bit of diagnostic printing going on. You can see what happens to the harmonizer, right? The MIDI note 77 comes in here. It's got to match it to this scale here. And then that in turn, because we're not just doing the chords, we're mapping it to anything in the particular scale. So that's one of 7 different notes, but obviously in different octaves. So at this point, it's corrected the note 77 to the note 76, because that's in scale within the compass of that particular chord. So there were some bugs. We got some error messages appearing here. I copied and pasted those back into Gemini a couple of times. We went around there. And then now FL Studio has also got this thing called Gopher, which is its own AI. And so at some point I started pasting error messages that were coming out of this into Gopher. And Gopher was giving me some advice, and I would copy and paste that advice from Gopher back into Gemini on the command line. So I've got the two AIs talking to each other. And yeah, I mean, after a little bit of backwards and forwards, we got to this stage. So we now have the stage you see here, where based on in the patcher with this FX script here, I can now just whittle away on my, this is just on my standard the ASCII keyboard of my laptop. I've not got it works with a MIDI controller plugged in, but I'm not using that at the moment because I don't have enough USB ports on this machine. I can't have my microphone and my sound card and my mouse and my MIDI controller all plugged in at the same time. So I've just had to go back to playing on the keyboard. But yeah, that's what it is. So those notes get, as they come in here, they get corrected. And of course, as you can hear, as I'm like, sometimes you're hearing the same note play twice in this row as I'm moving up the keyboard, because that note would have been out of the scale and it's being corrected back. It's going into flex here, which is this nice kind of, it's from the Albade Companion, hydrochloric results, whatever. And yeah, it just gives you that quite a nice, It's a nice instrument to play because, as you can hear, there's got a portamento effect. So although it's clamped by the computer, it's also, the portamento is still working because we're not clamping sounds, we're just sort of clamping MIDI data. And yeah, if you put in a nice chord progression, you can get this. Okay, anyway, that's that. I'm going to be trying to play this at an EMOM tomorrow, so yeah, wish me luck. And of course, there's more to doing a live performance. I mean, I will be improvising in the sense that I will be trying to construct a chord sequence from scratch, and we'll see how that goes. Could be could be. Let's see if it all works properly. But yeah, it's really thanks to now FL Studio 2025 now has this VFXScript option. It is just more Python of the same kind that you have already been seeing in Edison and in the piano roll. Anywhere where there's Python in FL Studio, I can now get Goldenpond in there. So yeah, it's fun. And this script is not online yet, but I will put it up somewhere very soon. And when it's there, there will be a link in the description. All right, that's what I've got. Thanks for watching. Since Media, and I'm out.